What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about the WMD Digital VCA Mk3. This is a cool module. I was lucky enough to get to do the demo videos for it, so I did some tutorials and some other videos kind of showcasing it for their social media. But William also was kind enough to sponsor the channel for me to do a video on the ALX 106 channel for the WMD Digital VCA. So thank you, William, to that. Or for that, I should say. Just real quick, if you don't know, I no longer work for WMD. I am still doing the videos as under a contract basis, but I'm no longer a full-time employee. William and I are partners in the new modular synth company called AMMT. We are working on this hi-hat module, but we're not quite there yet. And I'm going to make a video on exactly what AMMT and WMD is later. At a different time. So don't worry about that right now. Just worry about the fact that WMD is going to make new modules, and one of them is this one, the Digital VCA Mk3. So what is the cool thing about the Digital VCA in general? It's the third version. Why does he keep making them? Why do you still want it? The very first thing that I always talk about with the Digital VCA Mk3 is zero crossing detection. And basically in this video, I'm going to make two patches. I'm going to show you one that I have set up right now, and then I'm going to make another one. So the one I'm using right now is more pitter-patter kind of percussion stuff. And then I'm going to show you what it really excels at with the Zero Crossing Detector, which is baseline. So I'll do that in a second. If you want a real in-depth video on how this thing works, go on over to the WMD YouTube. So it's WM Devices. Go over to that YouTube and YouTube channel and check that out. This is going to be more of my opinions. So starting out with the thing, let me just turn up the channel that it's on. I just wanted to show this thing real quick because this is like I showed it the first thing in the other one, but it's got some normaling stuff. And one of the things that it has is it has noise normal to the CV input, which means if you unplug anything from the CV input, noise is now going to be modulating your input. Now this actually can be kind of a cool thing depending on the sound that you're going for, right? So if I turn up the bias a little bit on both of these and then just like introduce some of that noise, this might not be the sequence to do it for, but it does sound kind of cool. Just to add a little bit of weirdness to it. So the reason that's there is for some other sample and hold normaling, again, other video, but just wanted to show that thing. And you know, it's just one of those things to remember when you do get this, that when you plug nothing in there, you might get noise on the output. But it's not broken, it's a feature. So now we're gonna run into, I'm gonna run an envelope into this guy. We'll turn the biases back down. And basically what I'm doing is I'm running a stereo signal. So right now I've literally just got a stereo sample. It's just a sine wave coming out of both. That's going into the Kotzilin frequency shifter, probably saying that completely wrong. That goes into the Digital VCA, both sides. One of the nice things about the Digital VCA is that there's normaling on the CV inputs. So I just have one envelope coming out of the Javelin here, and I've got it going super quick. And if I turn up the CV inputs on both, we're going to hear it in both ears. If I turn down the CV input on the right, we don't hear anything on the right. If we turn it up with this one turned down, you still don't hear anything. That's because we're waiting for the output of this guy's CV, basically, the attenuated version. So to get a good sound, we're just going to bring them up there. Now I'm going to turn down the frequency modulation. We're going to show what this thing really shines for. So a lot of people talk about the Javelin being too fast, right? There are 3 envelope settings. You can slow it down, but the reason why the people think that it can be too fast is that you get clicks and pops with your whatever VCA you're using, including its individual or its independent VCA, its built-in VCA. You'll get some clicks and pops. And that's because if you're using like a, like a sine wave or something smooth, you're basically adding a hard edge when you just turn that envelope on in the middle of it. So what's cool about the digital VCA is that it waits until there's a zero crossing. It's basically a sample and hold. And when there's a zero crossing, that's when it allows the VCA to move. So now if I shut up for a second, you'll hear the clicks and pops I'm talking about. And they're inconsistent because it's always a different part of the wave. Now if I flipped up to ZCD, zero crossing mode, ready? All gone. So for your like Buchla popcorn, your super fast West Coast patches, things like that, this is a fucking lifesaver. So it's like one of those things that you chase down. In my music, you're probably not going to hear the clicks and pops that much because I'm going to bury it with a bunch of other stuff. But if I were just to solo this and then I'm like mixing, that might be really annoying to try and mix that. I want all the high frequencies to come through. I don't want to have to EQ them out. So all I got to do, flip that up. They're gone. So now with the rest of the patch, add some delay to that guy. I think it's this one. We'll turn off CCD and see if we can hear it. So again, in the mix, not quite as big of a deal, but when we solo that guy, if we were just do a breakdown, you know, like, you can hear those up in that delay and stuff. It's just kind of annoying. So you take that off. There we go. They're gone. So yeah, that's the patch that I'm using right now. Obviously, like I said, it's a stereo patch. And that's kind of nice because I've got I've just got one envelope going in there that normally makes it super easy for stereo. That's one thing I didn't show in the other video, I don't think. So that's why I wanted to do that here. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to tear this all apart. We're going to leave most of the patch up, but we're going to build this Legion baseline patch here. And I'm just going to show how I use the digital VCA and how it helps with like making some big, nice, fat bass lines. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to unplug the Kotzlin from here, and I'm going to unplug the outs from the ES9, which I'm using as my mixer. I am using Bitwig as my mixer. My laptop is closed. It's just under the Launchpad or Launch Control XL, which is what I'm using as the control surface for that. But we're just going to unplug all this right now so we can really get it all going. And I'm going to multiply this gate with a stack cable. I'm going to run that into the other gate of the other envelope. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to, as cleanly as possible, but also not so clean that it takes up a bunch of time in the video, we're just going to build up this patch here, grab some cables. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the pulse wave out of this Legion, and I'm going to run that into my filter here. I'm going to use this cable instead because that'll be a little bit easier, a little cleaner. Then we're going to go out of the 4-pole out because I like 4-pole sounds. We'll use this cable for that. We'll go straight. Actually, we need a longer cable because instead of that, we're going to go up into the digital VCA. So now we're going to go through the digital VCA and out into our input of the ES9. And for right now, we're only going to hear it on one side. Ooh, we need a secondary envelope here. So let's actually use this envelope. We're going to use a second envelope for the amplitude. So that's going to go into our digital VCA. And then we're going to use the first envelope into the filter. Turn off that guy. Now I'm just going to go into the computer and switch this input from being a stereo input. We probably need it to be, oh, I think I've already got that set up. It's just mono and 5. So let's turn off that zero crossing, just go into instant mode. All right, there's your clicks, and they go away. Still get a nice snappy envelope, but all those clicks are gone. Sometimes you want them though, so that way you can have them if you want them. But that way they go away, which is kind of nice. And now we're just gonna run, let's take a long cable and we'll go out of Volterra number 4 on this side, just so it's easy to remember where it's at. And we'll clear that guy out. And what output am I using? Don't even remember anymore. I think it's still 11, right? Nope. Number 16 is the one we're using. So let's turn that off. We'll do something more like long. And we'll do, it's this guy. Let's figure out our sequence here. There we go. And now let's listen to this with the instant mode. Again, if we have any rigidness on there, you don't really hear it as bad. But we hear it all the same. We turn it off. So now what I might do is, so that way I can have like more of a bitey guy, maybe even. That sounds fun. All right. There's plenty of times where, you know, like your bass kind of disappears because you're using a lot of resonance. You might be using distortion, anything like that. And I'm just grabbing some cables real quick. And so you might want to mix in something like a sine wave from another oscillator. And at that point, that's where the digital VCA is really going to come in handy again. Because with a sine wave, that's where we're really going to get those pops, right? So I'm just going to go through here, and I'm going to run out of my sine wave out of the second oscillator. We're going to go into digital VCA. We'll go out of here. Same thing, it's normaled. So let's only listen to the second one right now. How should we do that? Just by plugging it. There you go. There's your pops. They're all gone. Nothing is going to be in key, but we can get funky. So one thing that might be kind of cool too here is instead of using the exact same envelope, we're going to use the first envelope is going to be for, there we go, and we'll use boom. Cool. So we're using the first envelope we're going to use to control the first digital VCA, but then the second envelope we'll use to control the subby thing that we were doing. And we'll actually just send this a whole new pattern. So this is going to be number 12 coming out into this gate. We're getting a little messy. I would be tying these all up together if I cared, but I don't right now. So let's try 12. Give it some CV here. And let's see if it's muted. It totally is. Boom. Let's mute that ride. Let's listen to it by itself. So now we're basically having opposing bass lines. We've got one with a filter and one that only lives in the sub frequencies because it's just that it's an octave down, it's a sine. But now we can get as crazy as we want with resonance on this one. And our sub is still there because it's a sine wave going through a different VCA. And it's not super muddy because it's taking up different areas, because it has a different rhythm. And then all we got to do if we want to just go back to normaling is unplug this cable. Right? Plug it back in. So kind of fun just to have those like opposing bass lines too that are playing the same notes, just a different rhythm. One has some tonal character with the filteristics, one doesn't. So that is it. That is the WMD Digital VCA Mk3. And how I'm going to be using it. So like those are two examples of how I would probably use it in my rig. If you want more info, like I said, go over to the WMD YouTube page or wmdevices.com. But as always, thank you so much for watching. If you like the channel, subscribe to it, like it, share it with your friends. And yeah, I super appreciate it. We'll see y'all next time. Peace.